Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Jacksonville Jaguars Insider Podcast. My name is John Shipley. I am your host and beat reporter, and I've been your beat reporter covering the Jacksonville Jaguars for On SI every single day since August 2019, and we're continuing to move forward through another offseason together. As always, you can find our 100% free 24/7 boots on the ground coverage of the Jacksonville Jaguars every single day when you follow us on social media such as Facebook and Twitter at Jaguars on SI. You can also find us at www.si.com/NFL/Jaguars. Hello, folks, and welcome to today's episode of the Jacksonville Jaguars Insider Podcast. My name is John Shipley. I'm your host and beat reporter, and today we are reviewing the final OTA practice of the 2025 offseason. It was OTA number 10 for the Jaguars. We saw OTA number 1, OTA number 4, OTA number 7, and now to close everything up, OTA number 10. There was a lot of competition stuff, offense versus defense, a lot of 7-on-7, a lot of team. I thought, like it's been honestly the last, I'd say, 2 practices, pretty even back and forth between the offense and defense, both making plays. I wouldn't say either side struggled. I'd say that, like I said, each one had its moments. Maybe the offense had some higher peaks. But I thought as a whole, another even day for Liam Cohen's crew. And, just some of the things that stood out the most to me. Obviously, Brian Thomas Jr. continues to look like an ascending player. Brian Thomas Jr. took the NFL absolutely by storm last year. The tape that he put out, the production that he had as a rookie, only played so many games with his starting quarterback. Trevor got hurt week 9, I believe. So he started, I think, 10 games, and obviously in the 10th game, he was nowhere near 100% healthy. So that's almost half the season playing with a, backup quarterback in Mac Jones, who obviously and clearly struggled on the field last year. And despite all of that, Brian Thomas Jr. continued to produce. He continued to produce even without Christian Kirk in the lineup, without Evan Ingram in the lineup, without Gabe Davis in the lineup. When everybody in the stadium, in the county the game was being played in the realm of the universe that Brian Thomas Jr. was in, knew that BTJ was getting the ball on any given play, they were still feeding him, and he was still obviously coming through. I thought, I wouldn't say one of his best practices ever because obviously it's OTAs. I think for that to be true, pads have to be on, and frankly, that practice he had against Tampa Bay last year is probably right up there as the best practice I've seen from him. But just in terms of what does a dominant receiver look like in an OTA setting in shorts and helmets, it was what I saw from Brian Thomas Jr. today. Not every throw to him, obviously, was completed. Not every rep was perfect. But he put out a lot of high-quality reps on the practice field. Just looks like a player who's already such a high-level player who is still continuing to ascend. That's to me, best part of the Jaguars having Brian Thomas Jr. The tape that he put out last year, that's probably the worst he's going to be as a pro. He's going to get better every single season as he continues to add to his game, as he continues to get more experience. And the fact that he still has a ceiling that so far hasn't been reached, it should be absolutely terrifying for defenses. He had several plays today against Buster Brown, who Buster Brown's been a really good cornerback during the offseason program, has gotten his hands on a lot of footballs, a lot of pass breakups. He could not cover Brian Thomas Jr. one-on-one on Thursday. But Brian Thomas Jr. beat him for 2 touchdowns. One was a closely contested touchdown. Brian Thomas Jr. coming over the middle of the field, snags the ball, obviously out of the air, ends up scoring. The second play was a vertical route to the right end zone, and he probably had 4 yards of separation when he caught the ball. He just got WAO, if you've heard that phrase, wide open. It was just Brian Thomas being Brian Thomas. So I thought another very good practice from the Jaguars' number one wide receiver. Buster Brown, to his credit, even when getting beat by BTJ on 2 touchdowns, had, I thought, another good practice. He had he had the best individual play of the day, breaking up a pass intended for Brendan Strange in the middle of the end zone that otherwise would have been a touchdown. Good throw, looked like it was going to be a good catch, and Buster just completely disrupted it at the catch point. Really impressive play, and that's what he's done throughout the offseason. So I think if you're looking for an offseason winner on the defensive side of the ball, it's Buster Brown. And I said in my observations on Monday, earlier in the week, that if I had to guess the starting lineup right now, I'd say Buster Brown across from Tyson Campbell. And when we spoke with, and all these videos will be up imminently, but when we spoke with Ron Milas, the defensive backs coach, who he coaches the cornerbacks, it looks like Anthony Perkins coaches the safeties. When we talked to Milas, the way he talked about Buster and the way he goes about his business and the offseason he's had, it's very clear he's very high on him. And, that's been clear throughout this offseason as Liam Cohen, Anthony Campanelle, those kind of guys have talked about him. So Buster with another strong day. I thought, and again, this will sound like a repeat. I've said it a few times. I thought Eli Pankel, the undrafted wide receiver out of Duke, had another solid day. He made numerous catches that caught my eye, including one to the left sideline. That was just really good athleticism, really good hand-eye coordination, really good balance, good ball skills. To me, he's the one of the rookies who has flashed each day. I'm not sure. I'd say let's see Trenton Irwin during training camp in the preseason. Maybe they compete for the number 5 spot. Maybe they keep 6 receivers, but counting Irwin as part of this group because he's actually had NFL production. If I had to name the 6 best receivers, he's probably number 6. He's displayed some really positive things, and he's not the only one. I think Joshua Cephas has continued to have a strong offseason as well. But Pankel out of Duke right now, to me, is the undrafted wide receiver to watch. I thought the linebackers had a good practice. Jack Kaiser had a sack in team drills on Nick Mullins. Branson Combs, undrafted rookie out of Wake Forest. A guy who really flying under the radar. Obviously, it's going to be hard to make the 53-man roster, but perhaps, obviously, he can make the practice squad. Made 2 really impressive plays in a row. One of them, Nick Mullins, bootlegging out of the pocket. He's trying to get to the edge, trying to make a throw, and Combs just completely closed on him and forced a, wildly incomplete pass to the sidelines that nobody ever had any chance on. And, perhaps if Mullins got another split second or 2, maybe he finds a target. And then on the next play, they try to hit Lassiter, another undrafted rookie wide receiver, in the middle of the field. And Combs covers it perfectly and knocks the ball out, and defensive sideline goes wild. So in terms of which undrafted free agents have stood out so far, I think those are the 2. Finish recapping the day. Obviously, Keelan Robinson was waived, not at practice. It was just a tough go for Robinson. The injury with the foot happened at really, the worst time possible, foot toe, in training camp last year. Only played in 6 games last year. And by the time he really got onto the field, the season had already unraveled. It seemed like, this wasn't a team and a coaching staff that was playing for the future, because it was pretty clear, at least in my opinion, and probably clear in their opinion as well. I don't want to speak for them, but they surely coached like it. Like, they knew the writing was on the wall. So they weren't interested in saying, oh, hey, the season's lost. Let's see what they have in this guy. He returned a couple of kicks here and there, just didn't play a lot of offense. So, rough break for Keelan Robinson. I thought inside the rookie running back room, if I had the, one of the 3, they have 3 rookie running backs. If I had to pick one who impressed me the most throughout OTAs, I'm probably going LaQuint Allen right now. Really impressive hands, great coordination, very smooth player, But running back's one of those positions that, it's a half evaluation until we see pads get on. So let's see pads get on, and then we'll see how they look. Thank you guys for listening to today's episode. My name is John Shipley. Please subscribe, like, follow, whatever you got to do to our podcast at the Jacksonville Jaguars Insider Podcast. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all other platforms. You can also find all of our videos, interviews, podcasts, etc. on YouTube when you follow us at Sports Videos on SI.